Is the real estate market crashing? Are realtors getting sued out of business? When is the right time to buy? How does the economy affect real estate? Hi everyone, I'm Mercedes, the Military Realtor. Today we're going to answer all of these questions plus more with my professional insight in the market. Real estate ownership and wealth creation is incredibly important no matter your industry or career. That's why no matter the market, deals will be made, and we're responsible to stay vigilant for opportunities. We've seen rates at 18% back in the 80s, and deals were still being made. We're currently in a seller's market with low supply, tighter lending, and rates around 6 to 7%. Many want the interest rates to drop so they can afford their ideal home. But when and why will rates drop exactly? Rates may be lowered to help stimulate the economy with more consumer spending. Now, more spending creates a higher rate of inflation that affects our spending power and economy as a whole. The Federal Reserve has said they want to cut at least 3 times this year, but not yet since the data coming in has not been great. So if not in the May meeting, possibly the July or the September meeting. The Fed Reserve is supposed to be unbiased, so lowering rates by half to a full point before the election seems odd, but we also have to look at it as what's best for our economy, election or not. Once rate cuts begin, more buyers will be qualified to jump into the homeowner market. That is true, but supply is still very slow to grow. Once rate cuts begin, more buyers will be qualified to jump into the homeowner market, right? That is true, but supply is still very slow to grow due to new construction setbacks and the current homeowners with lower rates causing the lock-in effect. We'll still have a low amount of supply and even higher demand once rates are lower by half to a full point. That translates to more buying pressure, which gives sellers more leverage. They've got their pick of offers. As a buyer, you've got a lot more competition along with higher prices. If you shop while others are not able to, you can get a better deal. Less competition, you have more patience, and the ability to walk away from offers gives you an advantage over those that don't have the time. If you can afford it, you should always look for the opportunities to become an owner. If you can't afford it at this moment, make a plan to get on track with actual targets of saving and cleaning up your credit if needed. My preferred lender does an amazing job at exactly that. Don't let the media convince you that paying 100% interest living in a rental is better than owning what you live in. Some locations have real estate that's better for cash flow or market appreciation. Every market is local. Your market may be doing incredibly well no matter what the news is talking about nationally, while big companies buy up hundreds of thousands of single-family homes and rent it right back to us above market rent. Don't miss out before they end up controlling the entire market. Now, even if your local market is great, you can invest out of state. You've got to be creative. For a crash in real estate to develop, we've got to have a massive amount of layoffs. I'm thinking artificial intelligence could kickstart this, but I'm not sure if it'd be enough. That would lead to then short sales, foreclosures, bankruptcies, along with a big banking issue. The banking issue could be swapped out with the stock exchange issue or combined all into one with several different factors. Now let's ask ourselves what can happen and what are the probabilities based on historic data of the entire market along with current market signals. The real estate market may not crash, but the stock exchange, banking, and macroeconomy could, which then affects real estate. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. If you've heard news about realtors getting sued, it is true. With the claims on the tail end of a final settlement, our leadership has done a great job protecting us as professionals in our industry. Will realtors leave the industry? Sure, they do every cycle it gets tough. Will this decrease home prices? No, but it can decrease the entire transaction cost. Now, this could decrease the results received at discount brokerages. Everything is negotiable, so make sure you are making the best choice for yourself and your finances. When is the right time to buy? It's the right time when the right deal comes about. Off-market deals are great. There are some gems on the market, but they're a lot less likely. If you can find a seller or buyer for a property in any market, you're golden. We've got to always look, be ready, and jump when the opportunity comes knocking. Factors like strategy, resources, and time available affect your buy box criteria. Once you've answered the 5 questions, that's another video of mine, things focus in more as we have a more defined target. Our factors may change due to internal or external circumstances, and so will our criteria. Some may argue rates are higher than what they've been in the last decade, so it's not the best time to buy or sell. True, I can see that perspective, but if we look further back, we see that the median is in the 6% range for interest rates historically. Just because we had historic lows to combat things like COVID, which caused lack of consumer spending, doesn't mean we will go back to that. Statistically, it's not likely we're going to go back to those low rates. We can't focus on just the rate when you can refinance in the future. You don't have to deal with extra competition and inflated sales prices. You can never erase overpaying on the way in for a home, but you can change your mortgage rate over those 30 years. Let's get back to how the economy affects rates. Our main battle is against inflation due to massive amounts of spending and printing of the dollar. Now, the disparity between our wages and what companies pay is vast, which I think is the true issue at hand here. The media and corporations want you to blame inflation and unaffordability on the current administration or the Fed without acknowledging that these inflation causing and wildly profitable corporations don't pay the masses well. They don't pay us very well wages for what they make. To decrease inflation, we increase interest rates to make borrowing money more expensive, thus slowing down the dollar. We don't want to slow the economy down too much because that can cause deflation or stagflation. It's the Fed's job to keep us balanced. External factors like trade, wars, and pandemics greatly affect ours and the world's economy. Real estate is extremely local, but understanding the macro view of things can help signal predictable actions in this market. Now, here are my predictions for the real estate market. As we see every year, we will see an increase in market activity this spring and summer due to school being out and the weather being a lot nicer. The last Federal Reserve meeting in March signaled no rate cuts yet, with future meetings in May, June, July, September. The Fed is still planning 3 rate cuts, which could be 0.5 to 1.5% total change of rates. It isn't much. We have to keep in mind the election in November. Seeing rates drop a point or so in the leading election months makes the most sense, even though the Fed is supposed to be unbiased. We'll see what the numbers look like in the next meeting on May 1st. With spring and summer heating the market up and still relatively low supply, sellers still have leverage to push higher sales prices. Let's then add the possible rate cuts in the summer leading to the election to further increase demand and put upward pressure on prices. The election will occur in November and the market will cool down once again. In 2025, I can see a massive slowdown economically for us. What occurs in the election can greatly affect what happens to our economy. But from a macro scale, we've got record stock market numbers with only a few companies, mostly AI and tech. We have unaffordable housing, okay wages, unemployment flirting with pushing higher and higher, record high consumer debt, regional bank issues, and commercial real estate in financial hot water. This isn't necessarily the recipe for a booming economy, but with the lows come great highs. The smart investor buys when the market is low with little activity and rides the market all the way up to the top of the roller coaster, then pulls money out of the property, out of the peak for another opportunity. They then hold the property and they continue gaining positive appreciation and cash flow until circumstances change or there's another deal that makes more sense. At any time, there are tons of factors that can affect a market, but deals are still being made every single day. There will always be a problem for someone in every single market. It's not always the best for a buyer, a seller, or an investor, but we still have to keep our eyes peeled for a deal. What tends to pull economies out of slowdowns or recessions, which I do think we've been in a recession of sorts, but the numbers are definitely being skewed or adjusted just a little bit right before the election. Anyways, so what helps pull economies out is war in tech/business. When businesses grow and come up with new ideas, it helps the economy get better by making more jobs, doing things more efficiently, and getting people to spend more money, which can help the economy when it's doing poorly. Even though wars cause a lot of problems and heartache, they can also make the economy better by making the government spend more money on things like defense and building, which makes more occupations and helps companies make things grow and make more innovation. We've been indirectly fighting with Russia and China for a long time over who has more influence in the Middle East and control over oil. But in the last 20 years, the battle has changed. Now we're competing over information, artificial intelligence, and technology as a whole. China helped the US get through the Great Recession back in 07, 08, 09 by buying US government bonds, which helped the US pay its current bills and keep us stable. With China's economy at that time, it was growing incredibly fast, right? Which definitely helped us as well, because it meant more trade and investment chances for us. This time, not so much. China's real estate market is in free fall, and we've got heavy trade restrictions with them, not to mention our Apple, TikTok, Tesla war we've got possibly going on. 2025 and 2026 will be very interesting years with heavy macroeconomic, financial, and political influences. The deals are still out there. They always have been. It's just up to you to look for them, to genuinely believe they're out there, and that through your hard work and persistence, you will be fortunate enough to find one at the right time. But you must be prepared for it. You must know what to look for. You must know how fast or slow to really act. You must be ready to get out there and perform and have that action. Don't get tied around the axle about figuring everything out for the next 20 years with every single property. Things will get figured out as you go. And with each iteration, you'll become better and better. But you'll never attain even one property without having the positive intention that deals are out there. Linked below, I've got a suite of tools and resources on my website to help you navigate your real estate journey. Please use the links below to also schedule your free 30-minute consultation. If you have found this helpful, please like to support a veteran small business. Don't forget, real estate creates real wealth.